Hey PlanetDestiny viewers, Fallout here, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about why maximizing your neutral game in the Crucible is important, how it can help you win matches, and what subclasses in particular have strong neutral games. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, neutral game simply means when you're playing in the Crucible and you aren't using your super at the time. Your melee and grenade abilities, as well as other perks on your subclass skill tree, make up your neutral game. A lot of people play Crucible and only judge how strong a subclass can be by how strong their super is. While that might be an okay mentality for 6v6 game types where there's a lot of chaos going on, 3v3 game types including Trials, Skirmish, Competitive Sweaties, and Doubles are almost always won in the neutral game. Think about your average match of 3v3 Crucible. Even with tier 5 intellect, you're probably going to be only using your super a small number of times per game, usually 2 or 3 on average, whereas the vast majority of time spent playing in each match will be in the neutral game. Even if your enemies manage to kill your team a couple times per match because their supers are better than yours, in theory, if you're constantly outplaying them in the neutral game, then your team would probably win in the end, because you'd be beating them for more of the match than they're beating you. Let's take a look at two subclasses that have pretty strong neutral games and why they're strongly favored for 3v3, doubles, and tournament level play. The Sunsinger and the Nightstalker. Starting with the Sunsinger. The Sunsinger has a bunch of perks that put them ahead of other subclasses in terms of having a strong neutral game. Their melee has great range and does damage over time, which means that your enemies will have to wait longer in cover before recovering their health. Sunsingers also have access to Flame Shield, which gives you a protective shield every time you make contact with Scorch. Flame Shield actually does two things. One, it gives you a temporary overshield that grants about 67 or so extra health, and two, it makes it so that incoming headshots only do body shot damage against you, as long as your Flame Shield holds up against the shot. Meaning that if you break Flame Shield with a headshot, part of that shot will not do critical damage against your Flame Shield, but the remainder that managed to break it will. Sorry if that's kinda complicated, but the bottom line is that an extra 67 health as well as a partial no incoming critical damage reduction definitely makes you harder to kill as a Sunsinger when rolling around with Flame Shield. The Sunsinger's preferred grenade, the Firebolt, will auto-hit groups of enemies within range for okay damage, but when upgraded with both Touch of Flame and Viking Funeral on the skill tree, these grenades become absurdly powerful. When hit by a Viking Funeral Touch of Flame Firebolt grenade, enemies will take 162 total damage, which includes damage over time. This is great for two reasons. One, enemies taking that much damage overall means both you and your teammates will likely have a really easy time picking that weak enemy off if they haven't burned to death already, and two, for every second that that enemy takes burn damage, their health bar won't be able to regenerate, meaning they'll likely be retreating or hiding from the fight while they burn. You and your teammates can use this time to push in on the enemy while they're temporarily outnumbered. Because the Firebolt can very reliably hit enemies from around corners, it's a damn effective way for you to open a team push on the enemy. With tier 5 discipline, Firebolt grenades will recharge every 25 seconds, meaning that you have the ability to open engagements with grenades very frequently during the course of a match. Don't forget that Viking Funeral also helps the burn damage on your Scorch melee, taking the overall damage from 157 to 199. For the record, that's enough to completely one-hit kill anyone who might be running around in PvP with a minimum armor build. Because of how effective both the Sunsinger melee and grenades are, it's extremely common to see players in 3v3 game types using both tier 5 strength and tier 5 discipline. If you're playing using the current sweaty rule set, then you don't have to worry about exotic armor, but for those who just want to do well in matchmaking, I highly recommend the Voidfang vestments, as being able to recharge your grenade energy on every revive means you'll have access to Firebolt grenades much more often during the match. Another good choice are the Claws of Ahamkara for giving you an additional Scorch melee charge. But in my opinion, the Voidfang vestments are probably going to help your team way more in the long run. You can also think about using the Talalak, a gun that's incredibly good and also rewards you for not using your super and staying in the neutral game. For more on the Talalak, click here. Now, let's talk about the Nightstalker. Their melee ability, Smoke, is an incredibly effective way of shutting down enemies in PvP. Getting hit by a smoke grenade causes enemies to be slow, have messed up vision, lose their jump ability, and take damage. Because Smoke is technically a melee ability, you have the ability to throw both Smoke and your regular grenade at almost the exact same time, which can result in trap killing an enemy pretty quickly. This pairs really well with the skill tree perk Lockdown, which extends the duration of your grenades and how long your smoke will remain active when detonating. For Nightstalkers, it's highly recommended that you grab armor that can push you to tier 5 strength, as your smoke grenades will be able to recharge in just 29 seconds. Aside from having a damn good melee ability, Nightstalkers have access to two of the best neutral game skill tree perks in all of Crucible, Keen Scout and Shade Step. Keen Scout will let you sprint and crouch walk faster, which is always a good thing, and gives you the ability to mark enemies, which lasts for a full 6 seconds. Doesn't sound like much, but knowing exactly where your enemies are at all times is incredibly helpful. You also get an upgraded radar, which will display enemies you've marked as a red dot instead of just a red piece of pie. Shade Step allows you to perform an evasion move. This is so good and has a wide range of uses. Need to quickly check an area and you don't want to get hard scoped? Check it with Shade Step. Need to quickly get out of a dangerous situation? Shade Step. Fighting up close and you want to confuse your enemy? Shade Step. It also has the ability to let you take literally 0 damage from certain grenades in the game that rely on an auto-targeting system. Specifically, the Firebolt, Arc Bolt, Axion Bolt, Skip Grenade, and Swarm Grenade. I probably don't have to tell you that being immune to several types of grenades, including the Firebolt, is pretty helpful in PvP. If you're looking for exotic armor to wear for the Nightstalker to help your neutral game, look no further than the Graviton Forfeit, which gives you Shade Step for free. This means you'll be able to use both Shade Step and Keen Scout at the same time. If you really love using smoke though, you can also think about using the sealed Ahamkara grasps, which give you an additional smoke grenade charge. Well, that's it for this video, guys. Hope you learned a little bit about how to improve your neutral game when playing in the Crucible. If you want to see more from me, be sure to check the link to my channel in the video description. And thanks for watching Planet Destiny.